Today it's a special day. It's a Lachmesse, and we have our Stammtisch, our Absacker, and I have some guests here. And today we speak in English because we have international guests in Leipzig, in our hometown. And I will say you are Sharia. I don't know how Sharia Tandom from the US. You came from
India. India.
India? Okay, this is okay. So, India. Then we have Mila from Bosnia.
From Bosnia.
And you was Bruno. Bruno is easy for me.
Yeah.
And you came from Peru.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, and you all live together now in Berlin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And separate, but in Berlin.
In Berlin.
Yes, not together, not in one flat.
No.
Okay.
Thank God.
all in one weekend, like, hey, you want to go to
Thank
Leipzig?
God,
I hear today a podcast from Mila about living in with other people.
Which podcast?
It was an interesting podcast about tattoos and something
Was
else.
it me?
Yes, I'm sure.
Which one?
I'm sure, but we can discuss
Okay.
after. So, but I have to say something to you because it's important.
I know which podcast you listen to.
I love it.
I know which podcast you listen to. It's a wrong podcast to listen to. But okay. We're gonna manage.
I opened Spotify and I
Type my name.
yes.
And there is a podcast that I have, like as a host.
Yes.
Apparently you didn't find that one.
Yes.
No.
Maybe
broken
the other
English.
podcast is
you
more popular.
You found me as a guest.
Yeah, I know.
It was about sex.
Yes.
That's not a good one.
Yeah.
So okay, this was my picture of you today. If I drove my bicycle in the town. So, but we can start. I will explain something because I will explain before. Don't wondering about my English. The Lachmesse searched for the person who speaks the worst English in Leipzig, and they found me.
Don't speak.
First of all,
Speak
it's
great
great.
English.
Yeah,
great.
it's amazing.
It's great.
And second of all,
So-
thank you so much for accommodating. Like, this was supposed to be in German, but you did it in English for us, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
So it's so much better than my German, huh?
Definitely.
Your English is
Okay, so the time for compliments is over. So stop. Okay, but you have to learn something because some years ago, maybe 5, maybe 7, I don't know exactly, in Leipzig, it was a slogan, Leipzig is the better Berlin. And I will ask you why you don't live in Leipzig and instead in Berlin.
the donor here is poison. The donor here is poison. It's
Donor?
toxic.
Doner
The
kebab.
kebab.
The doner
The
kebab.
kebab. I had like one kebab
Oh, it
in
was
Leipzig.
terrible.
Ah, the Döner.
One doner.
Terrible.
I was crying.
It was terrible.
And we're supposed to go to the best one, right?
Yeah, we were like, yeah.
Marcel recommended Marcel.
In the south.
The manager of the theater, he
Yeah.
took us, like the three of us, I think,
Yeah.
to like this best döner in Leipzig. You guys are from Berlin, you guys should connect to your whatever roots or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he took us to the best whatever, right? And
Okay, don't
That was-
explain the name, but okay.
Yeah, no, we will not say that.
I don't
But
even
for
remember.
me it was
But
different. I mean, I know about Leipzig as like low-key Berlin, like upcoming city. It was
Yeah.
very low rent. I lived in Weimar
Yeah.
for quite some time, and when I finished university, a lot of friends moved to Leipzig or Berlin,
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I couldn't move to Leipzig because at that time, like here, where especially as an immigrant, you would need to speak German. It's very hard to find a job or to sustain yourself in
Yeah.
English because it's a smaller community. Not that people don't speak English. It's
Yes.
just like smaller community, and Berlin was actually enabling people who do not speak German actually to live. So
Yeah.
it was like more we are migrating towards Berlin than to Leipzig. But like Leipzig was like very experimental in music and everything else. But
Yeah.
now it's getting more expensive, as I heard, like because everyone is moving to Leipzig because it's cheap, and
Yes.
this means becoming expensive.
Yes, so some it was an old slogan. And you live also in Berlin?
I live in Berlin, yeah, but funnily enough, my girlfriend and I, we were actually looking at like moving to either Leipzig or Dresden. Just because the life is a bit more...
Don't Leipzig, don't Dresden. Don't,
Okay.
don't Dresden. No, but yeah, you thinking about or?
I think it's just a bit more. I think just a bit more quiet, and I think there's a lot of opportunity here as well because, like right now in Berlin, we've already seen the cosmopolitan environment and how everybody is.
Yeah.
But I think Leipzig is getting there, and I think this is like a great market for a lot of English events and English just generally for things to happen, like for an international crowd.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of opportunity, and that's why I also wanted to make the move to Leipzig and generally Saxony in general.
Yeah. You came directly from your show today. How was it?
Pretty great, actually.
Yeah,
I had a really
It
good
was
time.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was your first show in Leipzig or?
No.
No,
not
no.
really.
Seventh show for me.
Seventh for you?
For me, second.
Second?
For me, fourth, yeah.
Okay,
Then
okay.
four, yeah.
And what is the difference from the Publikum between Leipzig and Berlin?
More Germans here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, way more Germans and more, I would say, more decency.
For
more,
sure.
More like in Berlin, people are crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
They're all crazy. They all leather whips, and if not actively, it's just something that they're way more liberal,
Yeah.
but to like a crazy degree.
Okay.
So as a comedian in Berlin, you can say something crazy, and everyone's like, yes, of course.
Okay.
And in Leipzig, you say something crazy, and they're like,
Okay. It's harder for you.
yeah, it's harder, but it's more fun, I would say also.
Definitely.
Yeah, for me it was. I think it's not such a big difference between how people react in Berlin and Leipzig when it comes to material that I do.
Yeah.
But as they said, it's more Germans, definitely, I think, in the audience. But I think last time was much more people outside of Germany coming to a show because it's English speaking, I would say. But like, still, they were really much on board. Like, very educated crowd.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Like, because a lot of our stuff coming from like certain contexts.
Yeah.
And so they understand the context.
Yeah.
Because they're international comedians speaking about
Politics.
politics and like
Yeah.
intercultural differences. And,
Okay. Let's. Yeah.
I think for me the main difference between like Berlin crowds and Leipzig crowds is that Berlin has the largest comedy scene in Europe, and the audiences have seen so much already that they're now not intrigued by stuff that we say right now because this is the new normal for them. But in Leipzig, it's a completely new perspective. Like when you do your material, or even when you do crowd work, you see people like, oh, I didn't think of it like this way, or like this is the kind of thought process that goes behind it. So I think it's definitely a new perspective of what the audience how the audience perceives the comedy compared to Berlin, which has been doing comedy for the last decade.
Yeah. You all can live from comedy? No. Or yes?
I do live from comedy.
Yeah.
the only one.
Yeah, I pay rent with comedy and everything else not with comedy.
Okay.
I live from art. Like
Yeah.
I have a gallery that represents me, so this is what I live from
Yeah.
selling artworks, but also I do comedy within the exhibitions. So you can say I also sell jokes in this way. So it's not comedy per se that like I live from every night performing, but that also gets some kind of income.
I read about you a little bit about your art. You start relatively late. If I understand right, you start relatively late.
For the stand-up comedy.
Yes, with the comedy, and you lived before from art, or
Yes, I mean I'm an artist. Like it's been now I don't know 13 years I think, but I started doing comedy like 3 years ago. Like that, it's like regular every day. And before that, you know, I had like pretty traditional art path. I did my bachelor's in Bosnia, I did master's in Germany, and then I moved to Berlin and I was just doing art and I mean hustling in a way. And then I started to experiment a bit with the different ways of working within the art field, and that's how I came to stand-up comedy and joke writing. And this now I'm trying to merge together. Because I'm still an artist, this is what I live from, but the comedy, stand-up comedy became quite a big part of it. So I just need to put it together that I also perform in museums. And because a lot of, like, let's say, contemporary art world do not think of stand-up comedy or cabaret as a contemporary art medium, which is mind-blowing that they don't think of it. And they were all now like, oh really, you do stand-up comedy, what does it mean? Like joke is art as well? I was like, yeah, it can be. And so yeah, I'm trying now to put these two things together.
But I also think it's like a culture of comedy that we're very. We also don't consider ourselves artists so much.
I
And
mean,
it is, but it, like I don't know. When I was at the bar at the theater, I was getting a drink and I said, "Yeah, I'm here to perform," and they're like, "Oh, you're one of the artists," and I was like, "I don't know."
This is what I have problem, but I have problem with a lot of comedians. Exactly this, they don't consider themselves an artist, or they're maybe too shy to claim that word. Like that's something like mind blowing. Like being an artist is like being shaman or whatever. It's not. It's like literally everyone can be an artist if they're bored enough. At this point, I'm really like.
That's a
Then
t-shirt.
someone tells me,
That's a
oh,
t-shirt, huh?
no. To me, it's like someone tells me like, oh, Mila, I could do this. Like, yes, you can do this. Literally, everyone can do this. We are making it such a mystical thing of this art that it's like so gated, like gated community, and it's not. And I'm really up to this. Like, if tomorrow no one does art, I'm not sure a lot of people like no one cares about, because who cares about art are people who are within arts and culture. It's maybe conservative opinion, but like I think during the COVID this is what happened, and that's what people started to notice. And it's sad thing, because whenever I perform within the gallery and museums and I ask, okay, who comes here, who is here from arts and culture, I ask audience, and 98% people are actually raising their hand. They are part of arts and culture, which is sad truth, that reaching out to the people that are not within this field, it's so hard, no? While in the comedy club, this is what I liked about stand-up comedy, it's like you go to comedy club, it's so much more diverse.
Yeah.
There is no pressure of like, because I think art created this like mythical thing, oh, we are above everything, you need to be extra intellectual to get what we are saying, and it's not like, yeah.
I think that's why comedians don't like to be called artists.
But I'm so disagreeing. It's like,
No,
because
I know what you mean, but
like sometimes they're saying like, because of the jokes we are making, or we are making like sex jokes, I'm not sure if this should be an art. It's not about the topic what you're saying, it's like the action, like producing a laughter. It's a very social thing. It's a very, like, even producing a laughter in a spaces like whether it's a comedy club or a bar or a museum, it's already an intervention. And like just doing that, it's like so, not a lot of people can do it.
Right.
I think. Sorry. go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You need something to drink? Here's in the academic side is full service every evening.
It's Stammtisch, so we can like.
Yeah.
It's more drunk now.
It's the same level?
We have a more interesting
One of the
podcast.
same,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, he wants the same.
Yeah, if I do after the second Cuba Libre,
It will be nice.
Exactly. Then it's gonna be a full-blown discussion.
So, really nice. We have time. We have time until 6. No problem. If you want, you can have more. Let's for people you don't they don't know you. Maybe we can. Every person from you can say maybe 2 minutes about what is the topic of your program. You can start.
So I'm Bruno. I'm from Peru. I came here to do a master's in business at first. I moved to Switzerland.
Switzerland is good for business.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know. I think a lot of my program in terms of comedy is about. First of all, I mean, it's comedy. I just want to make people have a good time and everyone to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I think when I started out, my idea was to make everyone feel like they were in a room with their best friends. And in terms of topics, I talk a lot about my culture. I talk about growing as a person. So a lot about, I don't know, awkward moments on a date and trying to fix it. Or, I don't know, trying to get more involved into politics and being really dumb about it and learning. So I would say a lot of my comedy comes from the awkward moments of trying to be a better person. So just, yeah, I would say, I don't know, I closed tonight with a joke about I closed with a joke about me being nervous about the idea of internalized homophobia. I don't know if the term is too common, but basically it's the idea that you're like that there's like some deep level of homophobia that you have that you don't know how to get rid of, and even if it's so subconscious that you don't even decide to do it. And so I had a joke because someone told me that I had that and I didn't know how to fix it. So it's just all the stupid things that I do to fix it. And so I would say that's the kind of silly things. Just take a serious topic and make it stupid.
Okay, because on your Instagram site it's there's one sentence: toilet seat philosopher.
Toilet seat philosopher. Yes.
Yeah.
I think of philosophy the same way of Mila talks about art. Philosophy is just thinking about life, right? It's just trying to give meaning to your own life, and I do that in the toilet a lot. Every time I forget my phone, I'm like, what is reality? Is the world just ideas? Do I have to poop, or is it just an illusion? You know. So that's I would say how I would consider myself. Someone that brings the pretentiousness of philosophy into the most accessible place in the world. It's our bathrooms.
It sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe you?
Yeah, I mean, when I started stand-up comedy, it was a lot about, especially when I came to Germany, I came for my bachelor's in advertising and branding. I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
But
you have a LinkedIn profile.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yes, I also.
I have actually worked super hard on my LinkedIn profile because for the longest time.
Well, I can say founder and executive producer. Yes. Professional stand-up comedy. Okay, this and specializing in building new brands from 0 to 1.
I just changed that yesterday. I mean,
Just one?
To 1.
No, 0 to 1, like the growth stage.
Yeah.
Wie sagt man Bullshit auf Deutsch?
Hey! Okay, tomorrow you can delay it.
No, to be fair though, I mean...
No, I'm really...
In movies I always saw like director and executive producer, and like it sounded fancy, so I googled what executive producer is, and then I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I'm doing with my comedy production. It's an executive producer, whatever, you know.
Yes, in the video description we will make a link to his LinkedIn site and to her podcast. Okay. I know it's not your podcast, but you have to be more. You have to make more marketing for your podcast.
I will speak about it.
Okay, we will speak about it. So
Yeah.
And.
So I mean, I came here to do my bachelor's in advertising and branding, and I mean, I used to be a metal vocalist. Music was a big part of my life. I started performing live in 2009, and I've been performing for the last decade after that, like be it music or be it whatever. And then I came here and I had nothing, neither music nor any theater that I used to do. And I came across an open mic in Freitag, in Berlin, and I was like, wow, I can maybe do this, because my friends have said like, oh, you're funny in conversation or whatever, and then I already had the stage, like I really wanted to go back on stage, be it for any performing art. So I did my first open mic and it went well, and then I didn't look back since. So that was late 2021. And even one of the first jokes I wrote was about like culture shock. When I came from India, my whole life I lived in India, and now I'm finally here in Germany. The culture shock that happens, exploring my own identity, what's different over here, how I deal with my own insecurities, stuff like that. And then it was a lot of silly stuff as well, something that I saw, a lot of observational stuff, a lot of wordplay, stuff like that. And now of late, over the past year, I've dipped my toes into more of the improvisational style, which is like crowd work, getting to know about what people do, where people are from, and then just learning about new insights that are very different from mine. So I think in terms of comedy that I do, that's I think a major chunk of the live performance.
Okay. So.
Okay.
You?
It's me.
Yeah.
As you already introduced me, my name is Mila Panic, and I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Which city?
Brčko district.
Okay.
It's actually very specific part of of Bosnia.
Yeah.
It's not part of Serbia, no Federation. We are like district. We are independent.
Okay, you know the partner city from Leipzig?
Vertigo?
No. Travnik.
Travnik. Okay,
Travnik.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
What means partner city?
Partner city is they have a better relationship. They are visiting again and
Something mayor.
Do you give money to?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
Like, if I was partner city in Bosnia, like, and someone from like Western Europe, that's usually the way.
so
you know, like,
I know there's minimum one time a year a bus group from people from here go to Travnik.
that's great.
That counts
The
as
bus
giving money.
trip, yes, the bus trip. I have a lot of artworks about the bus trip from Germany towards Bosnia.
Okay.
It's a very specific route and the bus situation. So I'm very happy that you're doing that.
You know,
Yeah, to crossing the border
Like-
physically.
Yes.
But yeah, like
You-
what did you want to say?
that like 5 years before I moved here or something, or even 3 years, I was like, I would never live in Germany.
Why?
I had a bad impression, but
Okay.
now I love it. But now, as you were saying that, I was gonna say I would never take a bus to Bosnia.
You should.
But
Like
no.
that's what I
No,
like.
that's really interesting.
That's what I always recommend to friends who are like, oh, like I would like to visit. Just go with a bus. Like actually, there is not even flights anymore, so you can't even go. You can go to Zagreb or like neighboring country.
Let's
but,
tour. Let's tour to
Yeah,
Bosnia. Let's
but
do
I
it.
also
That'd be
didn't
great,
like
yeah.
Germany
Yeah.
in beginning, but that's another story. Like, but yeah, I'm from Bosnia, and I came to study here my master's degree, and then how I stumbled on stand-up comedy. It's actually with a friend. I think a bit pre-COVID. Like I got like a good shine
Yeah.
for a writing class, and
Ah.
I was like, oh yeah, let me. And you know, like during the COVID, there was this like wave of free money for freelancers.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to admit, but freelancers never been richer than in COVID. I never knew Germany has so much money than during
Okay,
the
don't
pandemic.
say it too loud.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm not gonna say too loud, but like, you know. Anyway, and
This
then
the
like,
reason-
okay, let me, and then I was like, now I feel like, let me try to find myself. And I was like, okay, let me experiment a bit with different mediums. And I was a bit saturated with my own practice in terms like, because after my master's, I came to Berlin and I was like, okay, I'm not sure how I fit with my own interests in art world to this. And then, yeah, my material and jokes that I'm doing are actually quite resonating with my artworks and the topics. It's a lot about the experience I went through, also like growing up during the war in Bosnia in early 90s, and the post-war situation, like war-torn societies, and this displacement. So I think jokes were started especially to create when the war in Ukraine started. That I think my overall interest in the topic, which now they call it dark comedy, but I think it's more of like social commentary in a way. And and it's also getting a lot of personal things. Like it's not like from a personal experience, I'm trying to make something more universal, whether it's about the experience of growing up during the war, comparing to the current wars that are happening, or about like domestic violence, and making it more universal. But of course, in order to make it easier on audience, because it's quite a lot of heavy, let's say heavy topics, I have some like dating material as well. Like of course, like because you need to have some kind of buffer zones in between to make people breathe. And I'm not saying that this is like easy material, because it's also like very hard to make innovative jokes within the topics that are so universal. But yeah, of course, like it's I think it's oscillating. It's sometimes time specific and site specific. I'll have a lot of jokes that are based on Germany or based on Berlin, and once you travel to another place, you need to adopt them and change them and so on. And but yeah, I think a lot of this material I perform within my exhibitions, where I explore the similar topics. Yeah.
If I heard about you, I was thinking, how big is the English comedy market in Germany? Why you don't go to New York or London or another place with English language? It's easy in to make English comedy in German?
It's not easy, but
in English. You mean?
Yes, in English, yeah.
it's not easy, but I've talked about this with a lot of friends, comedians, and I would say something beautiful that's happening in Germany and all around Europe is the connection with all of Europe and European identity, I think is what they call it. So when I perform in Berlin, I perform in front of Africans, Latinos, Germans, French people, Spanish people, and that's something that I've gone and done. I've done a bit of comedy in the US. I've done comedy in a lot of Europe, and I would say there is a lot of satisfaction that comes from not having to cater to the American market or to the British market.
Or the market in general, because...
There's no market here.
Everyone's English speaking,
Here, you have to be funny. It doesn't matter, like there's no common topics. You watch something growing up, he watched something completely different. So the identity is so much more spread and there's so much more opportunity. So in terms of money, I would say 100% worse. Like we could make way more money in London or the US or things like
because
that.
There is a market, but what he's saying, like also what's not happen, like as you said, you have this freedom of like you can just be funny and try to work on it and have you so much stage time, and rather than like in London and New York where it's so much saturated and everyone wants to go there, so competition is much bigger than in Berlin or Barcelona or Vienna.
How many English comedians lives in Berlin?
240.
What?
No.
Oh, that group at least?
Yeah, but then
they're traveling people. Active comedians are like 55.
No, more.
No?
I would
more active
say
comedians?
So
no, active comedians.
Active, I would say like 100 or 120.
120 active comedians.
English market?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, active saying once a month, right?
No, twice a week.
But you can perform every night at least once or twice. But also what Bruno was saying, like this European identity, like we can also notice when the comedians visiting from the US or London, they come to Berlin and they have this, I'm not saying like it's a bad attitude, but they have this privilege of a language that is their mother tongue, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they come on stage and they just like do their material already with the idea that everyone in the audience will understand the references, will understand the topics and so on, because that culture
they have no English, only English.
but it's so much more dominant that culture than any other. And like being in the city that it's so much multicultural and the audience is so diverse and they speak, let's say, broken English, and of course not saying that you need to dumb your English for us. On contrary, maybe because we learned it by the book, you know? So we don't understand the slang you're bringing with, and we notice so sometimes these jokes are not working, and they are surprised, like how come it's not working in Berlin or anywhere else? It's like, because try to adopt to the market in terms of like people who are coming to English comedies in Berlin. There are so much international people coming from all over the world.
It's not the mother language when it comes to comedy, like us.
And there's the only universal thing in the end is emotions, right? Like the only thing, it doesn't matter the words or the culture, or the ideas, everyone feels the same things, right? And I think a lot of the times it can be less money. It is less money. But it does feel so nice to know, like, hey, I can make someone from anywhere laugh, and I can make them feel these things without having to rely, like Mila said, on these slang. Like, oh, I'm from America and I'm performing in front of all Americans, so I could just talk about this TV show or that, thing that's universal. And you even see it sometimes with like jokes about your city. It's similar to jokes about your city. Like everyone, if you go to Berlin and you make a joke about a specific area of the city, everyone's like, we all know this area. That's American comedy in general. Like it's all jokes about that one area. And if you go outside, you go outside of there, and then all of a sudden, like And I know this because I love American comedy and I love the culture as well. So I watch a lot of these shows, a lot of these stand-up specials from the best comedians, and I'm like, oh, this is so funny to me because I understand the reference, because I'm very exposed to the culture, but I watched with a friend and he's not laughing because he doesn't know what is going on. So like,
and you can see when these comedians that we follow on Instagram, on Instagram Reels, and when they tour through Berlin, and then we go to see them, and how they, like, touring is a very special skill as well, like it's not Instagram Reel, it's not a Netflix special, so you need to write a couple of jokes about the space because people want to be seen that they came to your show. Like, okay, what did you notice about our city, about us, and so on, and you, you can see them how they adapt to the situation and how much they sometimes fail to do that, and because that's a skill as well, you need to develop it through touring.
I'll give you an example. Do you know what Remember the Titans is?
Remember the Titans?
No. How many? Do you guys know what Remember the Titans is? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So in this is a big Disney. It's a big Disney movie.
No.
So from
What the nerd! Disney movie, like not even some cool thing.
It's like about American football. So so basically, my favorite comedian, he put out a special 2 years ago. Shane Gillis, did you watch live? So 2 of his biggest jokes are about this movie and about Alabama football, which is one of the biggest teams.
Yes, yeah.
And so if you don't know, and again, I have family in the US, so I know all of these things, and I was watching it and I was crying laughing. I was like, this is the best comedian I've seen in my life. He's a genius.
But if you don't know it.
I showed it to a friend. He was like, what is this, Bruno? Like,
You need tea?
No, it's just like I have a condition.
Okay.
being Bosnian.
What kind of podcast did you listen about? Like, it's a terrible podcast. It's not a terrible podcast.
That was not my fault.
Still, I'm just waiting an uncomfortable question because it's a podcast about sex.
Did you watch? I have 3 episodes on that. That's how bad.
3 episodes?
That's
Oh
how
my
much.
God.
That's how many sex jokes I have. I have 3 episodes.
No, I drove my bicycle and here you.
Okay, but
And
like.
I make no accidents.
No, it's okay. Like, I guess that's the first thing. I think it's fine if I was a guest.
No, it wasn't really okay. I think no.
It was like, yeah. But like, I do have another podcast which is called Broken English.
Okay, you can make a broken.
It's not.
So
podcast.
it's your promotion time. Broken English.
It's not a promotion. It's podcast that it's not running anymore.
No, you should promote your podcast.
Okay.
Just don't listen to me.
Listen to it. It's about language politics. It's about dog whistle politics in German, broken English, and it's a lot about comedy and doing it in a second language
Or you can also listen to Mila's sex life on adults only comedy.
It was also you heard
What?
you heard too?
I didn't listen to your episode yet.
Okay.
No,
Also.
please don't.
Okay.
I
Stop.
overshared.
Okay. So, but we can come now. I think we will stop this discussion a little bit because we have to come to the end. What is your next show?
My next show, I mean, in Berlin tomorrow in Berlin.
In which club?
In which club? A&O Mitte. I tie up with A&O hostels and I do shows with them all around, all around Europe. I have a show in Warsaw, in Poland, Vienna, and Austria. I have in Dresden and Berlin and stuff like that. So A&O hostels, like pretty cool place. Cheap rooms, which is cool. Cheap rooms, breakfast included. It's a budget hostel, like.
Cheap room, terrible breakfast.
Mediocre comedy.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to watch good comedy and you are in Leipzig,
Don't go there.
Come on.
in Leipzig,
Some
come on.
food, come on.
Salzburg.
Which is the name of the hostel?
Pardon? I don't know. It's a
A&O.
billion A&O. I don't know why we were
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's a club. I think it's a German brand. It's okay.
And then in Leipzig at the
It's Zanfort Theater. It's lovely. I mean, 18th of November. I'm actually doing my birthday show because my birthday's on the 13th. So 18th November, I'm doing a show with some really cool friends. Lineup is not decided because they didn't DM me back.
So, and you?
Me, I have a podcast.
Also
Called Almost Good People,
Almost Good People.
where we talk about trying to be good people and failing. And then I run a show every Sunday in Berlin at the Black Wedding Comedy Club. And aside from that, I'm gonna do my solo show Latino Supremacist in the end of November. So that's coming up.
Okay. You?
I don't look scared.
Well, I
Do you have
just
a podcast?
I mean, podcast. You can find it on all platforms, but it was like a series of 13 episodes, and it's done now. But I recently came back from a small tour with comedy, so from now on, like, I'm just in Berlin doing spots in the shows of all of the other comedians because I'm preparing for a bigger show in June next year. Till then, you can just catch me in Berlin, and you can follow me on Instagram, Panic Mila, and you can follow all my shows there. But I don't have my own show running like a producer or so on. I'm just working on new material for the next couple of months.
I think we will do links to you, to the Instagram profiles.
And LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn as well for you, Okay, I will say thank you very much to being here. Have a good... You go back today or stay in hotel? Tomorrow.
Lachmesse is actually really kind of us to give us a good hotel. Thank you so much.
Okay, don't say it too loud. Do you have a hotel? Okay, we know. Don't ask.
So good.
Okay, it's very good. Okay.
There's a jacuzzi, which I'm happy with.
In your room or in the hotel?
No, in the hotel. I mean, in the room, that would be very high budget.
So, I would say thank you very much for showing, and we see us next year. It's Lachmesse, no?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
definitely.
calling us this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Great episode.
So,